Today I want to share one of those songs that feels like the other side of onion skin. A song about what happens when the layers fall away and someone stays. This is Baby I Love Your Way by Big Mountain. And I think I've always heard this song as something more than a love song. For me, it's really about acceptance, the kind that only becomes possible when you're not hiding parts of yourself anymore. I'm Lucinda, and welcome to The Outsider Within, a space for honest conversations about what it means to be different and still be seen. And today, we're exploring Big Mountain's cover of Baby I Love Your Way. What I find fascinating is this song was originally released by Peter Frampton in 1975. I'd never heard of it until this version, which is the reggae pop version that came out in 1993 by Big Mountain. And I first heard it when I watched Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. It's an amazing song, and I hope that you love it as much as I do. So what got me? I absolutely love reggae music. I love the sound, I love the feel, I love the flow. There's like a certain pace with it that's there's I love punk, and with punk it's sort of high energy and it's energetic. The reggae is kind of like just this chilled out, laid back, but still pushing along. There's still this motion. Sort of noticing what I'm doing with my hands. It's almost like a wave. So there's this beautiful flowing movement with it. And as with most reggae tunes, the bass is unbelievable. So the bass player on this version of it is Abraham Laboriel. It's a catchy and happy song. Although I'm not a dancer, every time I hear it, I sing and I dance and I move along with it. I just love this song. And because, as I started that last bit, I said I'm not a dancer, but still this music gets deep inside me and just makes me want to move. And it's like it has the power, music has the power to bypass inhibition. And I think that's so cool. There's a reference in the song to fireflies, and at that moment, you hear a flute doing this lovely little melody, which just feels all flighty, and the movement of fireflies too. Just a bit of fun in there, as well as the beauty of the song. And for me, it's not only about the song, it's the lyrics, but we'll come to that in a moment. I was talking about this song to a friend who suggested that talking about hardships, lost love, pain, and so forth is easier than talking about joy. But many people find joy surprisingly exposing. I find that really a weird sort of comment. Why would it feel exposing? Because I guess from my perspective, what is really important to me is that sense of joy. It's that wonderment, it's the excitement, it's the enthusiasm about everything every day, and just feeling filled with joy, I believe, is the ultimate state. That's where we should all be. And it really taps into a lot of that childhood energy that we come here with, that, you're exploring the world for the first time. Everything's exciting, everything's new, everything's novel, everything sort of evokes curiosity and wonderment, and with that comes joy for the exploration. So to find that joy is exposing, and maybe that would suggest that then there's a tendency to pull away from expressing the joy, I find worrying, because maybe, I don't know, I mean, I can think of loads of songs where that's quite the theme. Likewise, I can think of loads of songs, probably even more, where it's more about the lost love, the pain, the suffering, etc. So yeah, it's an interesting idea, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you find joy is exposing? I guess thinking back to what I said before was it ties into like a childlike quality. Maybe that's our core that hasn't been shaped and socialized. It hasn't been sort of shoved or corralled into any sort of expected behaviors or norms. We're not masking, we're not camouflaging, we're just joyful beings. Maybe that's where it becomes exposing because it's really our truest self. I don't know. Love to hear what you think about that. For me, this song is about love and acceptance. The line, I want to be with you night and day, in every way, which can only happen when you shed the layers and you reveal your heart. And while it could be interpreted as a love and desire type song, for me it's about total acceptance. It's just the absolute embracing of who someone is, and you just want to be around them and immerse in their energy and love them up for who they are. I think that's what this song's about for me. Um, I know it could just be romantic, it could just be desire, blah, blah, blah. But for me, that's what this song is, which is why I chose it. Something that is interesting with this song too is this song, as I said, I heard it first in Jumanji, and it's kind of meshed with the character who, at that point, is another character in a game. And she has to discover her special talent. The actor Karen Gillan plays Ruby Roundhouse in the game, who is actually Martha from real life in the movie, who's dropped into the game and taken the character of Ruby Roundhouse. The actor Karen Gillan, who plays Ruby Roundhouse, has spoken about being socially awkward. And I find that fascinating because she went on to say that playing this character, especially when it's Martha as Ruby Roundhouse. So if you don't know the movie, there's teenagers that end up in a video game. So Martha is the teenager who ends up as Ruby Roundhouse in the game. And I'm not going to give anything else away about it because it's a really cool movie and you've got to watch it. But Martha's really awkward. Martha is struggling with her own identity. She is really struggling with others around her as well. So there's like a popular girl who is also ends up in the game, and the interactions that they have and the really upfront conversations that they have about what they don't like about each other and what that reveals about themselves is tremendous. So it's absolutely incredible on every level. Even if you just watch it for pure entertainment, it's a great movie. So, Martha, the character outside the game, is on a journey of self discovery and self acceptance. She's really exploring who she is and how she relates to others. One of the things that I love is that the game doesn't really turn Martha into somebody else, it reveals strengths that were already there. I think for so many of us, we are so full of strengths, but we're focusing on the difficulties, the hardships, the weaknesses, the lack. I guess it's like the DSM in the diagnosis of autism and ADHD. It's all focusing on the negatives, whereas there's so many strengths. Whether you've got autism or ADHD or you're just you, we are filled with strengths, and we don't focus on them. We don't focus on them on each other enough, and we don't focus on them in ourselves enough. Not to be arrogant with it. I think arrogance is really going the other end of like the swing of the pendulum, is taking it to the other extreme. But being able to see your strengths is really important. And I think that's one of the things I really love as a theme that comes through, not only Martha and Ruby Roundhouse, but they're my focus in today's conversation because of the song. Um, but many of the other characters are also discovering their strengths and the truth inside them rather than the facade. And I think that teenage time is such a difficult one where you're changing and there's peer groups there's maybe pressure, there's societal pressure, there's perceived pressure to be something other than what you are. And I really wish we could change the messaging for everyone, children and adults and teens, everyone, to say you're okay as you are. Yes, we've all got flaws. Yes, we can all work on them. But ultimately, you're fantastic. I don't know. It's so simple. Anyway, Martha doesn't get changed, but what does change is her understanding of herself. And that is the same for all of the characters. And I love that. It's a beautiful movie. And the next one in the series as well is just amazing. And I think the power of the next one is also because it includes characters of different ages and stages in life. So really, really, really interesting. Going back to the song, so shifting away from the movie, so many love songs are about desire or lust. And as I said, I see this song as being about deep acceptance. And I really want to explore what happens when somebody loves the version of you that isn't performing, that isn't hiding, that isn't camouflaging, that isn't wearing a mask. What happens when somebody sees into your core and loves you for who you are? So, if you're not masking, you're not hiding, you're not even maybe succeeding at anything, you're just being really, truly yourself. It makes me think a little bit about the Evanescence song Bring Me to Life, which, incredible story behind that, and I'd love to share this song with you one day too. Amy Lee, the singer, wrote the song after a conversation she had with someone who was an acquaintance at the time, where he said to her, "Are you truly happy?" And she felt that he saw right into her soul. And long story short, they ended up getting married. They're still together and still happy, which is beautiful. But I think when somebody actually sees you and accepts you and doesn't run away and doesn't flee and doesn't try to change you and doesn't try to guilt you into being something different or whatever other things that people do, they just truly love you for how you are. It's the ultimate. And I think that's a lot what happens with puppies and pets. They love us for us and we love them for them. It's just a beautiful relationship that, it's very, very special. So let's have a listen to this song together. Please make sure, we'll just listen to a snippet here for copyright reasons. We can only play a little bit. I'd love you to listen to the entire song and get swept away in the magic of it as well.
I can see the sunset in your eyes.
And this is where I discovered I had accidentally muted myself for the final few minutes of recording. But perhaps there's something fitting about that, because this song is about acceptance. And sometimes being human includes those imperfect moments too. So here are my thoughts. I really, really love this song. It's impossible to sit still and listen to it. It's just absolutely glorious and so joy filled. I love watching the way Joaquin or Kino, the singer, how he's looking up and he's moving his hands outwards. And to me, they're beautiful movements of joy. And I think that's one of the ways that we physically express joy through our bodies. This song just, oh gosh, it just gets my heart. It's so about the acceptance, that deep, unconditional love. It's beautiful. And watching the film clip, I love the twinkle in the eyes of Kino and Lynn Copeland. And I shared that bit of the video. It's just this gorgeous moment, and it's just love. Like, I don't know if it's romantic love or just friend love, but it's a beautiful love between them. Now, Lynn Copeland, she's actually their bassist, their usual bassist, and she's obviously playing with them live. But for the recording, they called in Abraham Laboriel Sr., which is who I talked about earlier. It's a beautiful song. It's just filled with all those good things that we need more of in life. So I've linked the song in full below so you can listen to it properly. It's so gorgeous, and I really encourage you to do so. I shared earlier that this song to me is about acceptance, revealing our hearts and allowing ourselves to be seen. And I want to ask you, Is there a song that helps you feel more comfortable being yourself? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for joining me on The Outsider Within. Next time, I'll be sharing a piece of music that creates a character so vivid that you feel like you already know who it is before anything is said. May you continue to own what supports you, even when it looks different.